Good morning. It's Monday, the 27th of July, 2026. For those people who followed me for the past 7 years, you'll know that I said to you 5, 6 years ago that every government around the world would fall, and the government in the UK would not be run from London. And they wouldn't be run from the Houses of Parliament and the Houses of Lords. Well, we're starting to see now that number 10 Downing Street is now going to be moved to the north of England under the control of Andy Burnham. Isn't that what I said would happen? That it would move? And it is moving. But what's interesting is the contract for the building in the north of England was signed before Burnham was brought in as an MP, not to mention before he was the Prime Minister. Are you awake yet to the fact that you're watching a movie? And not just watching a movie, but it's scripted. Everything is done already. I told you this. I told you this 5 years ago, that this was going to happen. The reason I knew it was going to happen, because not only had I seen the script, I'd seen a large part of the movie. But the script had told me exactly what's going to happen. And that is exactly what's happening right now in the UK. And Andy Burnham, you have to listen to his words. He's considering North Sea oil. He's considering getting rid of digital ID. And what this will do is the old thick voters will go, oh, yeah, now he's going to do this, we're going to vote for him. Because they're so fickle, they don't do any research, and they have such a short memory that Starmer did exactly the same. He promised the world and gave nothing. And then you wonder why you're in a mess. You wonder why the UK is broken. It's because you don't give any serious thought to who you vote for, because you believe the lies. And when you start believing the lies and the BS that goes with it, it's because you haven't built a relationship with God. Because if God is involved in your life, then you'll look for a member of parliament or somebody to run the government who also has faith and trust in God. Because if they have faith and trust in God, they have a standard to live up to. Whereas if you're part of the 95% of corrupt politicians, you don't have a moral compass. You don't care. It's time for you to choose somebody that has an accurate moral compass, not just somebody that has the talking points and the clickbait to make you, oh yeah, I'll go for him. And then the minute he gets in, he changes everything. So be very careful as you head towards an election in the near future as to who you actually go for. And people always ask me, Charlie, who do I trust? The answer's simple. You trust God. And if you don't trust God, if you don't put your faith and trust in God, you can guarantee disaster is around the corner. Good morning, Drew.
Good morning, Charlie. Good morning, everyone. Well, Charlie, the movie plan for the upcoming week could be one of the biggest weeks of the year for global markets. Today, we've got Congress expected to continue work on crypto legislation, including the Clarity Act, as pressure builds from industry and law enforcement. On Tuesday, the markets watching closely for developments surrounding global oil supply and any emergency energy discussions. And on Wednesday, the FOMC interest rate decision. The Federal Reserve announces its policy decision at the conclusion of its July the 28th to 29th meeting. Markets are focused on whether rates remain unchanged and what Chair Kevin Walsh signals next. On Thursday, we've got liquidity operations and money market activity remain under scrutiny as investors assess the Fed's post-meeting actions. That's the specific $5.2 billion injection. And Friday, the US employment report, non-farm payroll and unemployment rate, one of the most closely watched economic releases each month. So crypto stocks, bonds, gold, and the dollar could all see increased volatility. Buckle up. This week could set the tone for the rest of the summer.
Well, guys, I hope you were listening to Drew there because she's just brought you the news about what's going to happen this week. Or you might be watching mainstream media, which will tell you that the Ukraine has decided to attack Iran. This is all distraction to take you away from what Drew's just told you is actually happening. Why on earth would Ukraine attack Iran? Other than the fact that Ukraine is just purely a puppet for the City of London, for NATO, for the EU, for the people we've now learned are the parasite class. These are the people that are falling apart. And they're losing control. They're losing control of the money because fiat currency is going to disappear, and they depend on that. They depend on fiat currency. The power is going away from it. They also depend on weapons. They're all being got rid of, destroyed. Forget who's bombing them. Forget who the missile attacks are coming from. This is all managed to destroy the parasite class weapons and their money. Their days are over. And the reason I know their days are over because they were over 5 years ago. And now you're seeing it in the form of a movie because at the time it was too dangerous to do it in real time. Now you're watching the movie. So we know that I know how it plays out. I know how the ending is. And the ending is very, very good. But I'll tell you right now, what happened 5 years ago in the dismantling of the old system was truly evil. And it was incredibly dangerous. And that is why it had to be done this way. So don't live in fear. Don't live in panic. This is all part of it. This is all part of the exposure. And for those people who have seen all the news that's coming out about the attacks in the Straits of Hormuz and this and that and the other, there's a short video here of me this morning at the entrance of the Strait of Hormuz. This is what it really looks like. Well, hi guys. It's Monday morning, and you can see behind me here, there's a plane in the sky there, but that's an Emirates plane. And this is the entrance to the Straits of Hormuz. This is beautiful white sand beaches, crystal clear water, but the temperature here in the water is incredibly warm, and the sun is just rising here in the Middle East. But people have a perception as to what the Strait of Hormuz is. This is a beautiful beach, that's the sea, and directly over there is Iran. Just so you know, it will give you a different perspective of what the Strait of Hormuz really is. True.
Next up, claims of a record $7.1 billion withdrawal from US investment grade funds have been called into question. LSEG says one usually large transaction distorted the original figures. After removing the affected fund, the data reportedly shows $1.54 billion flowing in, not $7.1 billion flowing out. LSEG is now reviewing the transaction. However, concerns are surrounding oil prices, inflation, treasury yields, and geopolitical instability remain.
All of this is going on in plain sight for people to see. Any of these politicians involved in this, if they were running a business, not only would they be in front of a judge, they'd be in prison for a very long time. We're dealing with corruption on a level that only politicians could even get away with. And that's because they rely on corrupt judges. My final story is not really a story. It's what Edward Snowden pointed out. And I watched it this morning and I thought, boy, oh boy, you are so on point. Those people who don't care about their rights to privacy because they claim they've got nothing to hide. They're exactly the same people who don't care about free speech because they've got nothing worth saying. I'll leave you with that thought. Thank you, Edward. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.
These are the facts, not put out by mainstream media. If you want to know the truth, we put out the truth every single day, Monday to Friday. So if you want to know the truth, come to charlieward.com and see real news daily. And join the Insiders Club, which is live on Wednesdays and Saturdays.
Global tensions are rising, markets are unstable, and currencies keep losing value. While governments print more money, smart investors are moving into physical gold and silver. Assets that have protected wealth for centuries. That's why more people are turning to Charlie's Gold to secure their future before the next financial shakeup hits. Don't leave your wealth exposed. Own something real, own gold and silver. Visit charlies.gold today.